let's just say northwest of Brisbane at a secret location, testing some, doing a KTM ride day.
Yep.
2022 model KTM 4-stroke EXCs, EXC-Fs.
Yep, fun, awesome location, amazing location, yeah.
Probably the biggest news, I guess, with these 2022 bikes is the suspension. So straight off the press release, Geoff, the two words, firmer and sportier. So
he knows all the technical stuff, and I don't read anything on them, I just ride them, but we know we're in Queensland because there's a cane toad over there. I don't know if you saw it, but
I didn't.
Yeah, it's just hopping away. Yeah, you know, he reads all the stuff, I don't, but I certainly love riding them, and yeah, I've got a current 21 model 350, so I'm familiar with them. It's got a few other bikes too, but I was impressed. The suspension was the best I've tried out of, you know, going through all the years. I've had KTMs and different bikes for years now, and but yeah, it's impressive. I've been impressed in the past too in some of them, but they seem to change a bit, so I don't know if they've fixed things. To me it's more than, you know, the preload. I guess it's set up for an average guy, and I'm pretty average, so it felt good, you know. I really liked that. Yeah, it was perfect condition, so I guess we got to point that out. And bikes feel great too in great conditions. But yeah, it was just a fun day, and every bike I enjoyed. It was good, yeah.
Well, I guess, you know, like you said, I like reading some of the data, so I think they've done something. They've got a polished spring to reduce the oil contamination. Yep. They've done something, I think, on the rebound damping circuit, like some of the internal componentry there.
Yeah, feels good, definitely.
Yeah, and something else, I think something in the mid-valve. So to me, it did feel a little bit firmer, because I think a couple of years ago, they went down 2 spring rates, you know, from 2019 to 2020.
Yep.
Offset that with more valving, but that was great for the extreme guys who wanted to preload it, but for some of the faster stuff and the big downhill stuff, and I think you probably experienced that too with your 350 2021, a little bit soft in the front. Yeah,
it was really, in many ways, it was hard to fault the suspension, you know. I mean,
today, you mean?
Yeah, today, yeah. I thought it was the best that I've tried for a while, you know, in these things, and track was great. It's not, you know, it's amazing track in as far as it's got some really good fast stuff. It's got a grass track. It's a bit choppy here and there. It's definitely got a good bit of tight stuff with some ruts. So great test ground, and yeah, just the bike feels really balanced. They all felt pretty balanced. It's amazing how the motor makes different things stand out, good or bad, you know. So but if we're just still talking about suspension, overall they were all really good. I think my favorite in suspension was the 250 and the 500, but yeah, it's kind of weird. It's amazing how much difference that piston makes, you know. It's just insane.
Pistons are cheap. Well, we're talking about it before, and according to the specs, and we really need to sort of double check this, it's gone to a 4.6 Newton meter spring across the whole range, which is interesting, and the same 63 through 69 shock springs. So you know, even the specs are saying they got the same valving, but let's, you know, from your experience, the bikes
feel like it.
Yeah, they felt quite different, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But again, it probably just shows how much effect that inertia and crank and piston has on the way everything works. It's just crazy how much heavier a 500 feels than a 250, you know. And there's like 1.5 kilos from the lightest to the heaviest. It's just insane.
But you would think bigger guy, stronger guy gets a 500, more horsepower, more engine braking, throwing weight forward. You would think that the engine specs, and again, as I say, I'll have to confirm this, the suspension specs, would have to be beefier to offset that, right? Yeah. And it kind of felt like that out there, right? In terms of the bigger the bike went, the firmer it felt.
It certainly didn't feel like they were all the same, so it definitely doesn't feel like that. The first bike I rode was the 250, and I was the most impressed with that. Like, I don't know, it just felt great. You know, it felt really good. And then as I went through, the conditions were changing a little bit. It was still really good at the end, but it was drier, a bit more skatey, a bit choppier and things. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's you know, they're all good, but it's amazing how different they feel. Yeah.
For me, the 250, I think I didn't climb out of a rut, some of this tight stuff in the bush all day. You know, I felt like a better ride than I am, because it just sat in a rut and it kept me in a rut. You know, as the front wheel wasn't climbing out, I knew where I was in the seat, you know, because the power was really controllable. But yeah, the suspension certainly felt.
Yeah, well, the nimbleness of the 250 allows you to do crazy things, you know, compared to the 1.5 kilos more of a crazy inertia of an engine. But yeah, the 250 was amazing, nimble. And I don't know if you want to get off the suspension, but you know, I rode that first and I thought, wow, this is really great, fun bike. I don't normally ride a 250, so I had a lot of fun. I was going, what a great track, everything was good. And then a couple of times you feel like, you know, gee, clutch it a bit more. You learn to ride it if you're not used to it. You learn to get on the gas more and clutch a bit more on a 250. It doesn't take you that long, but at first you're just wishing a few times, only a few times for me anyway, to want to liven it up and let's get going a bit more. And obviously you go to a 350 and it's already there.
Yeah.
So I kind of went, wow, you know. I actually went from a 250 to the 450, and to be honest, I didn't really like the last 450 that much that I rode. It felt really heavy. I don't know why. It was probably a bit to do with the power wasn't exciting and livening the bike up. But these feel a bit different, and I'm pretty familiar with the 350 power, and I've done stuff to mine, but this 350 seemed to go a bit better too.
And what do you see the difference between the 450 and the 500? You know, obviously the 350 and the 500 are the big sellers in the four-stroke range.
What is the 350 and the
500? Yeah,
right.
But I'm just asking, you know, because the 450 and 500 are very close. How do you see the difference in character?
Yeah, well, the way I rode the 450 second, and I went, wow, I didn't think this was the greatest thing ever when I last rode one, which is maybe 2 years ago now. Or no, it's only probably a year ago. So anyway, I went, wow, this is a good bike, and I really did like it. And then I jumped on the 350 and I went, yeah, that's why I bought one, because they're pretty good all-round sort of a thing. Yeah, and it made sense. It all made sense that, you know, like that one's got a little bit too much or whatever. The 450, I liked it better than the last one. It was more alive. It was hard to fault in many, many ways. I went, yeah, this thing's bloody good. And then I jumped on the 500 last, and last time I rode a 500, I actually raced one in America in GNCCs not that long ago, just did a few. And it felt really, you know, heavy. It was good. I can see why amazing riders like Milner and Sanders can, you know, they're so fit, you know, it's more physical of course, but they can just run higher gears and keep the speed. You can be so smooth on that bike. It's incredible. So yeah, today I was just sort of at the end of the day, I was happy I've got a 350, but I was really loving the 500.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. I love the 500.
Can we just go back to the smaller capacities a little bit? We're talking about it a lot over lunch. We've talked about it a lot over the last couple of years. You know, typically the sort of 250 and 350 four-strokes have come out of Europe, where it's a lot snottier, and it seems like they do a lot more stopwatch testing, and the mapping as a result is much smoother, linear. You know, but you can get it much better here. I know you've had some aftermarket maps. You said to me today that I think the stock 350 might not have quite that jump, because I feel like it was a 15% jump, but it's almost there, right? So they've chosen to.
I feel like they've done something, you know. It's certainly. The 350 was great. You know, I might do something to it if I bought that thing, but yeah, it's the last one. I said to guys jokingly, it feels a bit like it's tied to a tree, whereas this one doesn't, you know. So
you could have got a lemon, mate.
I don't know, you know. Maybe they've tweaked these bloody things, you know. I don't know, but let's say they haven't. They're good. The power's really good on all of them. I loved it, and the 500 was something that's really made me start thinking, you know.
So you're buying a few of your own bikes these days, which gives you great independence, which I love. So I got my little cheap sheets down here. So if you go from 250, 350, 450, 500, we're talking about from 14.5 to 16.5. So that goes 14.5 for 250, 15.5 give or take is a recommended retail for the 350. You know, 15.8 for the 450, and then you're paying 16.4. $2,000 is a fairly big differential for bikes other than, you know, as you say, pistons, more than the piston obviously, but from a capacity and power point of view, it's quite a big differential, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, it might be more than the piston, but it's only a crankshaft as well. But anyway, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know that, so there you go. There's quite a difference, but I think you've got this choice out there where, you know, like if you ride a lot of tight stuff and you get lazy on the bigger bikes, and then if you jump on a 250 like I did at the start, it's like reliving. It's exciting your times again, and you have to work it. And there's something really cool about trying to thrash a bike and really let's get it going, and you're clutching it, and you're feeling excited about riding it. And I got that when I first jumped on it. And you know, you can learn something. You know, guys who are only used to 250s, they fly on them because they really know how to ride them and all that, and you can learn all that. But if you, let's say you feel like you're in a rut or something, these are all good to ride, of course, you know, but you just got to suit what, you know, I mean, some guys, it's like back in the CR 500 days, all these guys just wanted to have 500s because they just got so much power,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
I can see why the 500 would be popular then, because it's got heaps of power, but it's an amazing bike for smoothness. The 450 is more aggressive, you know, it's not crazy, it's still very torquey and it's fine, but the 500 is just, you know, I don't even know why they put first and second gear in it. You just save some weight, take those out, and you can take off in third. You can do, it's a really versatile, long power. It doesn't seem to vibrate. It's, they've done a good job.
Well, I'd say sort of just listening to what all the other journalists were saying today, you know, I think the 350, the best of both worlds, is probably the all-round favourite. I'm going to say it, and I think, you know, and I don't think I've ever said this before, I had more fun today on the 250. As I get older, you know, dancing on the bloody gear lever, it's great and exciting and fun, but after a while you jack of it, you know. But I love the thing today, the combination of the agility, the fact that it could sit in ruts, it would pull gears, like pull third gear up any hill, like as easy as you like, even if you had a moment and got, not stuck, but, you know, lost a bit of speed in the middle. So that was a really massively impressive.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, it was a very impressive bike. It's flamed out a couple of times on me. I don't know why. Maybe none of the other bikes did that, you know. But I know exactly what you mean. You know, I had a lot of fun on it, and it's so nimble that puts a smile on your face. It's like, as you say, you can come into a rut from a different angle, and you just lay it over, and it doesn't push itself out of the rut. It just hooks in, and you can flick it around. You can go, oh, I'm going to clip that tree, and you just go like that. You can't, you know, it gets more and more limited in when you get to the bigger engines, you know, but yeah, it was a great bike,
But hey, a lot of fun today, mate, you know, got through the 3 4-stroke from KTM. Great to be back, having the opportunity to ride these things. You know, I guess I will say, mate, it'd be pretty cool to get on those 2-strokes. Really interesting now that, you know, even not including KTM's mini range, they sell as many 2-strokes now across the board as they do 4-strokes. So that's next on the smorgasbord, Geoff, while we're up in here in Queensland. Hey? What do you think?
Sounds good.
Deal.